Center for Teaching, Learning, and Outreach, the teaching and learning part is mainly focused on the teaching and learning that's taking place on campus with our own faculty members and TA training, and just working with our folks to make that experience with our own students more meaningful on campus. Then the outreach part is what I focus on. And our educational outreach is primarily three areas: Caltech faculty, researchers, and students going on-site out into our local schools. And then the second component is off-campus events, where we go out to public events and where we're not only reaching K-12 teachers and students, but families and members of the general public. And then, of course, the classic field trip, bringing K-12 students and teachers onto the Caltech campus for experiences. So here's an example of one of our outreach initiatives, our science nights. We go out to just about every middle school in Pasadena Unified School District and do a science night for them, where we bring our graduate students and undergrads and some postdocs in to do hands-on activities around pretty much all the subject matter that Caltech focuses on. So we have astronomy, chemistry, and biology, some engineering. This one here in the corner is demonstrating gravitational waves in a way that actually makes sense to people, which is pretty exciting when a fourth grader can walk away feeling like they actually understand what gravitational waves are. And then we also have teams. This woman's holding a model of the Mars rover wheels. So Caltech manages JPL, and part of that program involves the Mars rover that we're driving around on Mars right now. So if we're competing with MIT, I always say, have they put anything on Mars lately? We work primarily with Pasadena Unified, as I said, and some people are surprised to learn this, but it is it's a Title I district. It is an underserved district. As you can see, 60% Hispanic, African American 15, Caucasian 15, Asian just under 6, and 67.5% free and reduced lunch. For that reason, it's an ideal partner for us. There's a strong need in Pasadena. It's our community where we live and work, and it's close. That's the biggest factor for our students, is being able to get to a school in a short amount of time. Los Angeles is massive. We do work a little bit with Los Angeles Unified School District, which is districts that are spread out all over the county of LA, so you could actually spend hours trying to get to some of these schools. But there are some in our immediate area, but we do primarily focus on Pasadena Unified. We work with the high schools in Pasadena Unified. One way they work to make school more engaging for our students is to develop academies within some of the high schools. So the students, when they're in middle school, can decide which academy they would like to be in if they choose, and based on their interests, they can then just go to the high school that offers that academy. One of them is the App Academy, where the kids learn mobile, web, and game development. So they're basically learning coding, and they just make it as cool as possible. So they're designing games and having fun and building mobile apps. There's an Engineering and Environmental Science Academy. We just celebrated Earth Day or Earth Week with Muir High School last week, where we had many activities and visited the school with guest presentations. We did many open house evenings at Caltech that week that the students could come to for free events and workshops. We run the girls here in the lower corner are part of Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day that we do every year during Engineers Week in February. And we bring 25 girls from Muir High School and 25 girls from one of the feeder middle schools, and they come together so they get to, the high school girls mentor the middle school girls a little bit, and then they're being mentored by our undergraduate Society of Women Engineer students. So they're female engineer majors at Caltech who were mentoring these girls. Then at Blair High School, they have the Health Careers Academy. Similar things, we go out and do guest lectures, we provide field trips to Caltech and some summer internship opportunities for students who are in somewhere or other interested in moving into the health career field. And the whole idea behind all these academies is just to give the kids a reason to come to school. I mean, if nothing else, if they've got that one class because they've selected this academy, one thing that intrigues them or gets them excited, it's going to keep them in school and keep them motivated and keep them headed on a path. I wanted to talk about two of our what I think are very cool programs we've developed at Caltech that go much deeper than the simple field trip or guest lecture. One is Coding in the Classroom, and that is a program that's about 5 years old now. It started as a volunteer effort where our undergraduate computer science majors had the idea that they wanted to do some outreach in a local school. And simultaneously, I'd heard from one of our local schools that they were interested in having the kids learn coding. So we teamed them up, and they went every Friday afternoon. They would go to do 2 classes at one of our local PUSD schools and teach coding. They use code.org and Scratch, so just some very basic coding techniques. And they would go every Friday and just build on the skills week after week after week. We found that in that program we were relying on volunteers, so oftentimes particularly at certain points in the term where our own students were getting stressed or overworked, they would not be able to go. And sometimes they would tell me an hour before we were supposed to be at the school, oh, I can't make it today, I've been up all night doing problem sets and studying for tests. So that became a challenge because it's awkward for us to tell the teacher at the last minute, well, now you've got to fill this hour with something else. So I worked with the computer science department to develop a course, and I highly recommend this as a way to engage your volunteers in something in a structure that's a little more meaningful to them. Not only is the altruism, but they're also getting credit. So we have a computer science course now at Caltech where our students get 3 to 6 units in Caltech credit for doing this outreach initiative. So that all involves them developing the lesson plans. They meet once a week and plan out what they're going to do and strategize, and then they go into the schools. And that's been very successful. We now have 20 students enrolled this term in this program, so we're actually reaching 2 different classrooms at 2 different schools. So we've sort of quadrupled our initial efforts. And just to note, you'll see they're all young women here. This is one of the cohorts, and so computer science is the biggest major at Caltech now, but it's still way underrepresented by young women. But for this particular outreach initiative, these young women just love doing this. So we actually go into a classroom and you have 5 role models for the young girls in that class and say, oh, I could do that. So they really work together well, and they have a lot of fun. And we've been very, very excited about the growth of that program. And by partnering with the computer science department, it takes a lot of the stress off of me of trying to round up these volunteers every week and get them to the school, because I have a partner on campus that's helping make that happen. Another program we have is visiting scientists. So the other group were undergraduates. These are graduate students who are going out into one of our schools every week, and they are the scientists. Basically, they are the resident scientists. We were contacted about 3 years ago by a principal from one of our schools at Cleveland Elementary School. They were losing their resident scientist who used to come to the school and spend 1 day a week doing hands-on science, and she asked if I could help solve that problem. So I reached out to a bunch of our graduate students, and we got a cohort, a small group of students, and some of them are now doing it for their 3rd year. This young woman here, Cecilia, she's doing her 3rd year at this. They go out every Friday and work with all the kids in the school. So we have 2 teams. There's a morning team that does 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and then K1, 2 in the afternoon with another team. And so every kid in that school is getting hands-on science every week through this program. And again, this is a model where we're going a little deeper in connecting it to the curriculum. We actually meet with the teachers. We do lesson plans. We look at what their lessons are, what the science standards they're hitting that week or that month, and try to tailor the hands-on activities to what the teachers are covering. And the teachers stay in the room during this whole time. So the teachers are engaged in what's happening. You can carry that in the classroom, and we'll pick up the pace a little bit here. A little bit about summer. We are moving into summer now, so we have quite a few programs where we bring students onto campus for the summer. We have Community Science Academy. It's 50+ high school students each summer who are doing hands-on science. We have a small Pathways to Stem Cell Science with 6 high school students each summer. 20 high school students and 5 teachers and teams work in labs in our summer research connection each year. And this is very effective because it's not only providing the high school kids with this opportunity, but the teachers are also working right alongside them in the labs, and then they can take that back into their classroom.